Hello again. So I would like to talk about the blood sugars, and in general blood sugar curve and why it's so important to keep your sugars stable, blood sugar stable, and why, or more so, why it is important for breastfeeding moms or the moms who are recovering early postpartum. Okay, so I'm gonna share with you a table or a graph that we normally use to describe the insulin and the blood glucose level kind of effect or mechanism. Okay, so that's how it looks like. So basically, we have blood glucose level here on the left, then we have time after eating here at the bottom. We have insulin as our hormone that kind of lowers the blood glucose levels in blood. It kind of acts in whenever the spike occurs. So basically, what happens? Imagine here we start eating. After we eat something that is sugary, okay? Sugary means it contains simple carbohydrate like sugar or honey, or it contains complex carbohydrates, but in a simple form. So, for example, rice would be here, white pasta, white bread, rice cakes, anything that kind of very quickly gets digested and hits your bloodstream. Okay, so we eat that, and then what happens is that straight after eating it, so the bigger the portion was. So, for example, if you end up drinking a can of Coke, what's going to happen is that your blood sugars are going to go through the roof. Okay, the same if you end up eating like a whole bowl of rice that is, for example, sushi rice, and it's also added sugar into it, we will have this massive glucose spike. Okay, then after the massive glucose spike, our body doesn't like it. It's not safe for our health, so it produces a hormone called insulin that basically is released in order to bring the glucose spike down. Okay, we then have, if there is too much insulin produced, we then have something called glucose crash. And glucose crash is that sort of time when you feel like, okay, well, I have eaten 2 hours ago, but suddenly I feel this jittery. I feel so hungry. I don't think hungry. I feel hangry. You know what I mean? I just feel like I have to eat. I have to eat something, and that something has to be sugary because I really feel jittery and I really feel low energy and I really feel like I want to pass out. Okay, those are all the symptoms of glucose crash. I'm sure you're familiar with these. What insulin does as well, it kind of blocks fat burn down. It blocks fat burning. It kind of stimulates the fat storage. It's a simple explanation, okay? But that's kind of what happens if we have too many of the spikes during the day. So what we want to do is we want to normalize this glucose curve. We normalize it by combining carbohydrates with sources of fat and with sources of protein and with sources of vegetables. Okay, so everything works as a buffer. And the more we balance these things out and lower the carbohydrate content, the better we are in controlling these sort of spikes. The problem is the breastfeeding. Oh, it's not a problem, okay? It's a beautiful thing, and you should not absolutely be told by anyone that you should be stopping it, and you should never kind of be on a diet or trying to take care of yourself because you're breastfeeding, because that's not true. What you want to kind of think about when you're breastfeeding early postpartum, that you're recovering and you're also nourishing the baby. So technically, you and the baby, they need a bit of extra carbs, okay? They just need to be coming from the better sources, because if we need a lot of carbs for the baby and for ourselves, but we take it from the super sugary options like cakes, biscuits, I don't know what else is the thing that normally moms would have, bowl of pasta, like a massive bowl of pasta, is that yes, your baby is gonna get some of this, but first you're gonna get a lot of it into your bloodstream, okay? So especially for moms that are breastfeeding and are really postpartum, we want to make sure that the options of carbohydrates that we choose from are a bit lower glycemic, okay? What does it mean? They just don't cause this spike. So either add a bit of extra fat into our meals or extra vegetables, and we start with the vegetables, we start with the protein, we have the fat as the first thing, and then we eat the carbs as the last, which ensures that there is not so much carbs consumed, but also it doesn't hit our bloodstream as quickly. Or we go for stuff like quinoa, like brownish stuff, sounds funny, like rye bread, for example, as an option. We go for more fibrous option of carbohydrates, such as potatoes, sweet potatoes. They will have a lot of fiber. They will be less or slower released. Or we go for chickpeas, lentils, beans, and pulses, which, yes, they're a bit of proteins, but they're amazing source of carbohydrates, an amazing source of slow release carbohydrates due to the protein and the fiber content. So that's what I want to say in terms of the blood sugar consideration for breastfeeding and the early postpartum. Not to say that does not apply later on, but it's really, really crucial and important in these stages. Awesome. If you have any questions, you always have my number. Bye.